Shalom, family. It's good to see everybody here. And all know that OJ has passed on, and the white media has taken this opportunity to demonize him all over again. And, in my opinion, y'all, they're doing it all in vain. At the end of the day, they can keep bringing up Ron Goldman and Nicole Brown Simpson. And at the end of the day, when OJ left this world, those murders were not on his record because he was found innocent. So, what else do they have left other than demonizing this man? They don't have nothing else. OJ don't have those murders on his record. If you remember, he was found innocent. So The bottom line is, I guess they feel this is one more last swipe, but at the end of the day, it doesn't change the circumstances that he was found innocent, you know? But they should know this all so well. Look at Kyle Rittenhouse situation. He's on camera taking people out, and y'all still found him innocent. Know what I mean? So, hey, they can vilify him all they want. That's all they got left. So let's talk about uh Caitlyn Jenner, Bruce Jenner, whatever. They have come out strong and talked about OJ killing people and good riddance and all that stuff. But he seems to have amnesia because back in 2015, he killed someone. Okay, Bruce Jenner did. And we're going to talk about that because people are bringing that back up. And, of course, he's getting all upset. He's getting mad and upset that it's coming up again, but it is what happened. So let me just. This is what happened. Whether he likes it or not, I'm going to share my screen because he did settle it. As far as I'm concerned, he lowballed this family big time. All right. Can everybody see my screen? Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Please give me a 1 if you can see the screen. Okay. Now, many of you might remember. In fact, I think even this happened when that Keeping Up with the Kardashian crap was still on. And he was on the show every now and then. He was on the show and he was out driving, y'all. And he rear-ended a woman that was driving a Lexus. Her name was Kim Howe. She was a 69-year-old woman. When he rear-ended her, he pushed her into oncoming traffic, and she went head on with someone that was driving a Hummer and killed her. Killed her. And Bruce was the one that was responsible for that accident. He pushed that woman into traffic by rear-ending her. So, of course, people came for him saying, you must have amnesia. You are responsible for somebody not being here. So, of course, he's trying to come back at people, but really, he's a hypocrite. But we have seen people like him be hypocrites. And, the thing is, nobody's going along with it anymore. Those days are done where you get to sit and be a hypocrite and people won't say anything or they'll back you up. But those times are done. Nobody's going along with your hypocrisy. Let me show you the actual pictures of I got a picture of the actual accident. Here it is. Move this up. I'm going to put it on the screen for y'all to see. Here is the actual picture of the accident. So this white Lexus is the car, the woman that died. She was in this car. Bruce was behind her. He rear-ended her. She went into oncoming traffic, went head on with this Hummer, and she died. It amazes me how these people always want to point out what somebody else did, but they want to hide their hands and run when it's what they did. Know what I mean? Yeah, he shouldn't be talking about, and people came hard at him. They really did. They came at Bruce, Caitlyn Jenner really hard, and nobody held back either. So he's out on social media running his mouth, and he forgot that he was sued over this woman that lost her life. And he can't even say anything because he caused it. So we know OJ went, and you can't be surprised that the Caitlyn Jenners of the world are coming out and went on to say good riddance and calling OJ a killer and just completely trashing him. So here are some of the responses from people that came back at Caitlyn. I'm going to stop sharing this. See if I can share that other one. Here we go. So people, they didn't hold back out on X. So here's one. Let me see if I can just zoom it in a bit so y'all can see this. Okay, here we go. All right, so here's a Dr. B baby that responded and said, I'm sure the family of that person you ran over can't wait to say the same about you. In other words, he said good riddance about OJ being gone. And here's another person that responded, SWB, that said, I know you're not talking. And they're showing the actual accident, May 1st, 2015. And another person, Witch Doctor Alex, said, like Caitlyn, you killed somebody too, though. DJ the Kid went on to say, you're one to talk. And, when this happened, a lot of people, we kind of knew they weren't going to do anything to Caitlyn Jenner back then because, they can get into vehicular manslaughter and get out of the whole thing. And that's exactly what happened. It was declared a vehicular manslaughter, but they refused to put him behind bars. So he paid a $800,000 settlement with the family. And I believe her kids got 50,000 apiece. I mean, it really was a lot lower than what they should have gotten. It really was. He made off real well for taking someone's life. And here's the woman right here that died. She's right here. And her name was Kim Howe. She was a 69-year-old woman. And she was pushed into ongoing traffic, and it was a multi-car crash. It was another car there. I think somebody was driving a Toyota Prius. They were also part of the accident. It was like 4 or 5 cars involved. So the adult stepchildren of Kimberly Howe filed a lawsuit against the former Olympian, calling for unspecified damages and the cost of the suit. And he did pay. Although Caitlyn Jenner was not charged with any crime, the incident sparked widespread criticism and scrutiny, therefore recalling that very incident. Yeah, and I don't blame people for doing that. I really don't. So he now, y'all, I don't know if any of you seen in the news, but him and Lamar Odom are doing a podcast together. Chloe's ex, Lamar Odom. Yeah, former NBA basketball player. I don't know what he's teaming up with Caitlyn for, but they're doing some kind of podcast. I mean, some people really need to know when to stop. And see, the problem with Caitlyn, first of all, what kind of person decides they want are you still there? How come everything froze? Okay. Uh, hold on. Okay. Okay. Yeah, well, um, they said just from Bruce getting endorsements over the years, especially when he was still an athlete back in the day, they said that I think over his whole career, he earned, I think, like about $100 million. Because he had all those endorsements. He was on the Wheaties box and all that stuff. So he did make out pretty well. But the bottom line is he killed someone and didn't go to jail. And, all they can do as far as OJ is concerned is speculate that he did. And like I said, we're never going to forget putting on them gloves in the courtroom and the gloves didn't fit. I think that was a defining moment right there. That was a defining moment. And those were leather gloves. And then they were running around. I remember when that happened. And they were running around the next day screaming and hollering the gloves. Those leather gloves shrunk. The leather gloves shrunk. That's why they didn't fit. Now, OJ had pretty big hands. He had pretty big hands. And I was not surprised those average size gloves did not fit him in the courtroom. That was hilarious. That was absolutely hilarious. What, Caitlyn? Well, Caitlyn is definitely aging. I mean, he wants to be a woman, right? Well, he's definitely aging like one. You see every line and wrinkle up in that mug. He's aging. He's definitely aging like a woman. Got all the wrinkles around the mouth, the crow's feet, wrinkles all up in the forehead, wrinkled all under the eyes. Yeah, he's definitely aging like one. Mhm. And somebody I remember somebody was saying, "Oh, well, he looks great." That looks great to you? That looks great to you. Okay. Yeah, he's definitely a Karen. Oh, well, OJ was melanated, but then again, he remember when he said he wasn't black, he's OJ. Yeah, I think we all remember that. Mhm. Oh, well, he said he still likes being well, Caitlyn says they still like being with women. So I guess he likes to be dressed as one and still date women. Mhm. Yeah, that was old Johnny Cochran, Willie Rivers. If it doesn't fit, you must have quit. That was Johnny Cochran. Man, I wish he was still around. I wish he was still around. Mhm. Wow. So, Caitlyn is now feeling a certain way that people are bringing that 2015 accident that he was fully responsible for, bringing that all up again. So he's all upset about that, you know. And it just goes to show you the media in this country don't have any consideration whatsoever. OJ does have 4 children, and they watch the media, and I just think, you may have your opinion about OJ, but you could at least let the family grieve. They didn't do anything to you. His children didn't do anything to you. So, but I bet if the kids look like Caitlyn, y'all wouldn't be doing it at all. We know why you're doing it. You're being the media that you've always been in America. We know why you're doing it. Mhm. Well, I remember for a long time they tried to be mad at Johnny Cochran and and the defendants. I said, "No, they did their job. Johnny Cochran and them did their job. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. Go up in that courtroom and defend OJ and try to win the case, and they did win. And that's exactly what they were supposed to do. What was the defense supposed to do? Sit there and take a loss? No, they have to fight for their client, and they did. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, when you reflect back on OJ, they were like, this was the case of the century. I don't think it was, but I mean, there are some people that do. I think it was the one that at that time, it probably got more publicity than any other case that you've seen. Yeah, that part is true, but I don't know if I would call it the case of the trial of the century. I don't know if I would go that far. I think at the end of the day, they were upset that a black man actually walked and 2 white people were dead. And I think that is what's burning them up even to this very day. That's what it is. Dark Skin Brother, thank you for both of the super stickers. Thank you very much. Hmm. If you remember, Johnny Cochran had one hell of a record. You know, people always talked about F. Lee Bailey never losing a case, but Johnny Cochran was really up there. Johnny was an excellent attorney. If you remember when Todd Bridges got in all that trouble, he defended quite a few celebrities and got them out of situations where they would have spent decades behind bars if he was not their attorney. And if you remember, one of the cases he defended was Todd Bridges back then, and he kept Todd Bridges out of jail. So Johnny was a good attorney. Yes, he was. Johnny Cochran was trying to take the US government to court for our reparations. I mean, it's a shame. Johnny had it's a shame Johnny had died. I believe he have a brain tumor. He had a form of cancer of the brain. Yeah. And if anybody could have done it, Johnny would have gave them, put on one hell of a case for those reparations. And what's sad is you don't see any black attorneys stepping forward to take up the case of reparations. You notice that? You don't see any black attorneys nationwide. You would think out of this whole nation, you would see some that would want to step up to the plate for reparations. You don't see any. You don't see any doing what Johnny Cochran did. And that's really sad. You just don't see those kind of lawyers like him around anymore. Mhm. Well, if they're scared, then they're not gonna be no good to the community. We don't need scared lawyers, we need people that are brave and ready to stand up and dig in for the fight, but it just seems like these attorneys out here, they don't have that fight in them. They don't. It's just not there. Mhm. Yeah, I mean, Crump is doing a lot of things out here, but, he's a wrongful death attorney. You know, Johnny Cochran was more of a trial attorney. He really went in that courtroom and fought for people, trying to get them out of things they got themselves into. Where Benjamin Crump, he will try to get damages for the family for a wrongful death. That's what he's more in geared to doing. He doesn't really directly fight the police like that or anything, but he tries to get that settlement for the family. And yeah, he's out here, you know, but he's not really taking up reparations though. He's not doing anything like that. Well, he got a big clientele, I tell you that. He got a law firm, I think one is out there in California, and he's so big, he got a 800 number you can call if you got a case that you want them to hear, and they will screen what you say and determine whether they wanna move forward or not with your case. But he's got a pretty big, law firm, and I think he's in more than one state. But, like I said, he's wrongful death. I don't know, I never heard of him even talk about I never even heard of Benjamin Crump talking about reparations. I don't think I've ever heard him talk like that. I mean, he could have, and I could have missed it, but I have never heard him even speak publicly on reparations. Yeah, he does have, a location in Florida. I know he's got one in California. And yeah, I mean, Crump, he's always on the move. He's always all over the state, depending on, what's going on. That's why it's not unusual for you to see him when especially if he's doing interviews or press conferences, he's always in multiple different states. Well, see, one thing if you watch his documentary out there on Netflix, they did one on Ben Crump, and it was actually pretty good. I was surprised. And Ben Crump, when he went to law school, he said he wanted to help Black people. That's what he went to law school for. He knew when he was still in college that that was the direction he wanted to go in. Mhm. Yeah, I mean, actually, OJ did not last that long with his cancer because I remember when he went out on X back, it was sometime in 2023 where he announced that he had prostate cancer. And I remember seeing it out there. And this is like a year later and he's gone. But I think he did go in remission for a while. And then when it came back even stronger, and that's the thing, that happens a lot, you know? The only one that did not happen to that I can recall was Dick Gregory. He had it, and he went on a fast. He went on, I think, like, a long fast, I think, like, 30 days or even longer, and his did not reoccur. It was nothing for him to fast because he used to always fast for different causes too, if you remember Dick Gregory. And yeah, I mean, when you fast, you pretty much starve the cancer cells to death because they have nothing to feed on. And that's what he did. And Dick Gregory made it all the way into his 80s before he passed on. Hmm. Yeah, well, OJ should not have done a lot of things. I mean, I think if he would have stuck with his wife, Marguerite, he would never have seen nothing like this occur in his life. But he left. You know, they actually had 3 kids. Him and Marguerite, his first wife. One drowned, if y'all remember. You may remember, you may not remember, but one of their children drowned in their swimming pool. And not long after that, their marriage fell apart, and I think OJ was blaming his first wife for what happened. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, well, I don't put a lot of, I don't weigh down on these black attorneys out here. It is what it is. They're just not gonna be out here fighting like that, you know? It is just, it's a terrible thing. Mhm. You know, she did marry again. She did. And I believe at one point in time, I gotta go back and look. I believe at one point in time, she was dating Peebo Bryson. Marguerite was. You know, I don't think they ever married, but they were in a relationship. She was in a relationship with him for a while. Oh, yeah, Marguerite is still alive. She is still alive, Ebony Queen. She is, and she's married. I think her last name is now Watley. Mhm. Yeah. Well, so y'all, I just wanted to bring you together for this. You know, Caitlyn is getting dragged pretty bad out there. And I would imagine it'll probably go on for a few days out on social media. You know, that's what happens when you open your mouth and you don't think about your own past and what you have done to someone out here. Know what I mean? So y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. How you doing, True Royal? And I'll be back tomorrow with another topic. So stay tuned and be on the lookout for my videos when I put them out. Shalom, family.